Hey you, subscribe. You're watching Radio Free Cybertron. For the latest Transformer news, reviews, and more, visit tformers.com.
This is Radio Free Cybertron, episode 355, recorded March 19th, 2014. I'm your host, Brian Kilby. With me this week, we have Robert Clay. We have XV. We have John DeLuna. Long time no see, John. And from Superhero Time, we have Fort Max.
Hello.
Apparently, Fort Max was sprung upon me by XV. This has been a ploy the whole week, so I'm excited by that. Fort Max has been on, but I don't know that he's been on when I've been on. So
I don't think he's been on a. Well, yeah, he's been on the show where there was the first male nudity of Radio Free Cybertron.
Yeah.
I think I was on like once before that or something.
There was that one where Superhero Time took over RFC. Was he not on that one?
That was the one with the male nudity.
Oh, was he on that special you did? Why Transformers Sucks or whatever it was?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That was Mickey, Ken, and me.
Oh, that was a good one. I enjoyed that. That was a great Christmas gift or whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
I enjoyed it.
Well, it was the end of 2012, so I guess that's close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
So, on the show this week, we have a Q&A with Rob Springer, This Week in History, and we're going to end the show this week with a live review of the final issue of ReGeneration One, ReGeneration One, number 100. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So, just again, I want to remind people, if you haven't already and you want to give to the JD Giving Forward page, you can go to tfradio.net/JD. That will help out with funeral expenses, etc. JD's been gone for over a month at this point, and I'm still finding myself trying to, like, email him or text him or something. Like, there's something I wanted to tell him, like, really bad. I'm like, ugh, and I'll never get a chance to. It really, really kind of sucks. We miss you, JD. So, for everyone who's left iTunes or Stitcher reviews, thank you so much. If you haven't, it's the easiest, freest, simplest way to help us out. We do the show for you for free. It does cost money. It does take time. We enjoy it, but, we don't do it just to talk to ourselves. We do want to help get the word out. So if you use iTunes or Stitcher or whatever your podcast service of choice, just leave us a review. It takes 2 minutes, and it would help us out a lot. So again, for those who have, thank you very much. Let's see here. Okay, I almost forgot. So Rob Springer and I were in Jolanta this weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a G.I. Joe convention. It also merged with the Great American Toy Show, I think was the name. So it was this big combined sort of mega convention in Atlanta. First year, though, combined, so it still leaned heavily G.I. Joe. So the G.I. Joe 12-inch community, I've never really experienced it before.
Let me just sum it up. The G.I. Joe 12-inch community is your parents. Or at least people their age.
It's your uncle, basically.
It's your uncle.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, I know it skews older because G.I. Joe started when, 64? So, well, it's basically what BotCon's going to look like in 20 years. With the exception that BotCon, Transformers, they have evolved beyond, G1.
Yeah, with the exception that Transformers is still constantly bringing in new fans.
Yeah. it wasn't. I'm not knocking it because I was just surprised that because I've never really experienced that before. There are 3 3/4 inch fans there, but mostly 12 inch. Those people are really passionate about G.I. Joe, and I was really impressed, actually. The cool thing about G.I. Joe, unlike Transformers, there's a vibrant custom community. Not that Transformers doesn't have custom stuff, but it just seems like it's way more prevalent with G.I. Joe. Partly because you kind of have to do custom stuff because there's nothing new, but
and partially because, well, it's a lot easier when they're not having to transform.
Yeah, that's true. So
and they've had, like, reproduction and custom parts manufacturing forever,
and it's really cool looking. I mean, like, all the stuff looks super legit.
Yeah, that one picture you posted on Facebook, the various heads from Cotswold, they're actually an authorized third-party creator of replacement parts for the original G.I. Joe figures.
And they're awesome. Like, I've never really been around the 12-inch figures that much, but I kind of told Kim I didn't, but I'm like, I'm going to have to get into these 12-inch G.I. Joes. My favorite part was the parachute drop at the end of the convention. Not at the end, but the end of Saturday. Basically, I think the hotel was like 15 stories or something, 10. But all the guys would go up to the top and they would, like, drop their G.I. Joes, their parachutes down. I didn't really consider that there were G.I. Joe 12-inch figures with parachutes. Because I know 3 3/4 inch has, Real American Hero has parachutes. But, man, those figures work pretty well. I mean, I guess the difference is, like, a real, parachute person, jumper, is going to have...
A paratrooper?
Paratrooper. Well, they're not necessarily all paratroopers. I mean, if you...
parachute jumper person.
Yes.
Well, the alternative would be, skydiver. Well, I don't think that's really a genuine military term.
No. But really, how many, G.I. Joe is kind of like fake military anyway, so it's not like they're really troopers. But those figures, it actually works pretty well, except for the ones that would, like, collide into the side of the hotel. Or the lobby. One or two got stuck in the elevator shaft. That was kind of funny. But, we had a lot of fun. Kim wasn't that crazy about it, but she really enjoyed that parachute jump piece. It was really fun. It lasted for about 45 minutes or so. It went on for a long time. It was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I don't know, it doesn't really fit our audience that well, unfortunately, so I don't know that I would go back specifically for that, but if they expanded the Transformers piece a little more, I would, be, all about that. So we'll see what, 2015 has in store. If Rob has more input next year, if he's involved, maybe Joe Con or Joanna will be a little more Transformers heavy. That would be pretty cool. So, let's go ahead and jump to This Week in History. In 2003, Transformers Armada number 9 is released by Dreamwave. It kind of makes me sad because I actually was reading the Armada comic at this point. This is a couple issues after it stopped being good. I really enjoyed, I think I mentioned this several times, I really enjoyed the first 7 issues of this, surprisingly, but I don't know, Armada just... After Furman got on it, just sort of got a little stiff. Yeah, a little Furman-y.
So, well, we'll talk more about that in a little while.
But yeah, so that was 11 years ago, and 14 years ago in 2000, which makes me again feel really old. The Beast Machines episode Home Soil premiered, and was that the first episode with Botanica, or was that? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Just making sure. That was I don't know if any one event in Transformers today would like piss so many people off in an episode.
I'm sorry, you must not have been reading the reactions to the Windblade comic coming up.
I haven't read it.
Good. Probably best to keep it that way. You'll feel less bad about your fandom.
Oh, please tell me what happened.
Oh, it's ongoing and it's terrible.
It's more of the ugh, she's a girl crap. I mean, this is just another one of those if fandom had a neck, I'd strangle at events. Yeah. Ignore it.
So because I'm behind on the comics, I haven't been like reading all the stuff because I don't want to be spoiled. Because I do want to catch up, except on ReGeneration One. I do really want to catch up, like on More Than Meets the Eye and Red and all the Dark Cybertron stuff. But I'm months back, so I try to avoid spoilers on that stuff. I mean, with Botanica, it was like, ugh, she's a plant. It wasn't like, ugh, she's a girl. Man, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Transformers fandom, for not disappointing.
Don't ever change.
Yeah, don't ever change. Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Yes, or better yet, change back, since obviously the girl part wasn't a big deal 14 years ago.
Yeah. I hope
Girl parts were always a big deal, Rob.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. So, Ratbat, I want to say Masterpiece Ratbat and Soundblaster, have started shipping. I know that HLJ has started shipping those out. But we have a new comparison of the MP Ratbat to the G1 Ratbat posted right now to T-Formers. And he looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a comparison of what that looks like compared to the KFC Ratbat, but it looks so much better than the G1 figure. I don't think I'm going to get this.
No.
I've backed out of that.
5 people are gonna get this,
But I really want it. I really, really do. I'll be honest with you. John, are you getting this? You get everything.
No. Sorry.
Why not?
That's the old John. I only have like of Masterpiece stuff. I've got I've got Prowl, Grimlock, Rodimus, and Tiger tracks, and that's it. Of the new stuff, or modern, I guess, Masterpiece. I'm not really a Masterpiece guy. I don't know why. I feel like I should be, but I'm not.
Because it's official.
No, I'm also not that. I'm not like a filthy third-party guy anymore. Like Dal. Dal's filthy and third-party only.
Really?
But,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he and I every BotCon, he and I retreat to a corner and talk about third-party stuff because nobody else will.
That's our friend Ryan Smith.
Yes, nobody else in our group will admit that you can have a positive thought about them. So we go and have our little discussion in the corner while everybody plays Cards Against Humanity or something like that. But
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I mean, I got the only time I get Masterpiece stuff is if there's if it's a character and a design that I have to have, but I'm in no way a collector of them.
If I had the money, I would so have that G2 Sideswipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's fun. He'll be on clearance at some point, though, won't he?
Probably. I mean, it's retail, so.
I mean, if he dips to $50, I don't know.
Wait. Soundblaster?
I will do this. No, Sideswipe.
G2 Sideswipe.
Oh, you could probably get him for that. Not shit.
At some point, I bet he.
It'll go down.
At some point, he hits 50-ish, 50 to 60.
I mean,
it's not like trying to get Gaim stuff where you have to get it immediately or it's gone forever.
Yeah, but I mean that's most of the yearly Bandai stuff.
I fully expect this to be knocked off. It's probably in the process of being knocked off right now, so you can get it for $30 shipped.
What,
I wish somebody would knock off the Ratbat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's really nice. I haven't applied stickers yet, but I'm sort of torn because he can either look like the comic or look like the toy, and I'm more right now just wanting to look like the comic.
Yeah.
Even though I like the toy. The toy is gaudy and glorious and garish. But I've got it. I don't need another one. Let's see here. So new BotCon Saboteur data log titled Aboard the Tidal Wave. So I haven't been keeping up with all of this story stuff around the new BotCon set. But are we at this point assuming that we're going to get Tidal Wave as a figure in the set? And if so, what would it be based on?
Nah.
Tidal Wave is awesome.
Yeah, but
he was awesome.
It would probably be based on that Mirage mold again, which would just kind of suck.
Maybe it would be based on Classics Mirage.
Yeah, no.
We don't have a good boat, do we?
No.
Based on Classics Mirage, it will probably just be a bunch of leftover clear ones from 2007.
So, and for the record, I'm referring to Energon Mirage, who was a boat.
Yeah.
I know. I just don't want people to be confused. I know you know. but the listener out there may not know. I'm talking about Energon Mirage, who was awesome, but you know, he's already been reused.
Looks better as the Dreadwing recolor, though.
Yeah.
Dreadwing, the boat.
Yes. The boat.
The boat, but
I like reducing him to a boat.
yeah.
That's what another title it would be. It'd be Thunderblast from Cybertron.
Yeah. That literally may be the only other boat I could think of. Very underused alt mode.
Isn't there a Scout class boat?
Power Core Combiner.
Yeah.
And
Undertow.
if you wanted to like really stretch it, you could repaint like that titanium Scourge and be done with it. You call him Tidal Wave. No, I guess not. So we're getting. You remember that Ultimetal Optimus Prime that you can't afford?
But Ender's buying one anyway.
He is. Did he confirm that he is?
I'm sure he has to.
I'm sure he put the pre-order in months ago. I think I remember that coming up on Twitter.
It's an Optimus Prime toy. He will psychologically self-destruct if he does not own it.
But we're getting an Ultimetal Megatron. Like, no surprise there. But I mean,
Yay.
I don't know if it's going to be like $50,000.
It'll probably be the same price,
What,
right?
$1,800, something like that?
Is it that much?
I thought so.
How much are the Ultimetals?
I thought it was like
Is
$1,800.
that much?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh my god, 4 figures? Wow.
I think in the end the import price managed to come in under $1,000.
Okay.
That's impressive.
It's ridiculous no matter what.
Like I think it was, like 75,000 yen or something.
Oh.
But,
Wow.
But here's Ultimetal Megatron. It looks nice. It looks way more Megatron than like Hegemon does, but of course Hegemon's like $150. And it transforms. Yeah, this is it's nice looking.
Yeah.
But not like $1,000 nice.
No.
Nothing is
Got a lot of stuff going on.
no toy.
Panels and junk.
No new toy to me is $1,000 nice. I can't really say any vintage toy is $1,000 nice either. XP, you don't have $1,000 to blow on a vintage toy either. So
No, I was just thinking what would I want to though? But nothing comes to mind immediately.
a pristine Grand Max mint and sold box.
Not really.
No, me neither.
For $1,000? No way.
He gets for more than that now, doesn't he?
Maybe. I was thinking there haven't been that many G1 or vintage Transformers that have broken the $1,000 barrier.
Not counting AFA.
Yeah, and especially if you take out the Fort Max mold.
Yeah, I was trying to explain AFA to somebody today, and I just
It didn't make sense to them either.
My
did it?
head started hurting. Yeah. I know that we have friends that collect AFA. I totally get that, but
Well, you start your story with, okay, first of all, it's a sham, and second, here's how it works.
yeah, Hoop and I were talking about it this weekend, and he had pointed out I think he saw one that was an AFA graded mint and sold box, Browning or something that had the stickers applied, and I'm like, oh.
Well, if it was just Decepticon symbol, I think that was probably factory.
I gotcha. It was something that had stickers applied that were on a sheet. I don't
Was it also a knockoff?
That's entirely possible too. Actually, so one thing I didn't get into, I completely apologize for this. We had that panel at SavCon this weekend, not SavCon, Joanta this weekend, and we got bumped for Scott Hall, the wrestler, because he decided he had to leave, so they bumped our panel from 2 to 4. Then we found out at like 3:05 that our panel got actually bumped back to 3.
Ooh.
So we had a pretty decent showing, but we didn't have the showing that we had hoped for. But most of the people who were attending were kids, which was actually really cool. So we ended up answering a lot of children's questions. But
really?
Yeah, so my favorite one. These kids their parents or somebody exposes them to G1. It was kind of funny. This kid, I think he was 11 years old. He said, "How come in Generation One, Predaking is a combiner, but in Beast Hunters he's a big dragon?" And this kid was 11 years old because Rob literally asked, and Rob said, "Kid, what's your name?" He's like, "Steven." Steven, have you ever met somebody else named Steven? That's exactly what this is. And I'm like, wow, that explains it perfectly.
That's a great answer.
It is. It is. I thought that was awesome. But one of the questions was, a guy wanted to know if it was fair or cool if we thought it was okay to fill in holes in the G1 collections with third-party knockoffs. And it's, you know, sometimes it's hard at this point because those knockoffs are, especially the ones that are in, you know, in those repoed boxes, they're hard to tell apart. And if it's sealed, I mean, how are you going to know? Without looking for, you know, some sort of misprint or defect or obvious, you know, error on the packaging. If that packaging is legit, if that packaging is solid, you could potentially never know if you don't open it up. So yeah, Fort Max is right. If that thing is AFA'd and it's a knockoff, you could literally never know. You might spend $3,000 or $4,000 on something that you could have got on eBay for $30. That would suck.
Well,
Have
it's
fun,
not like it
everyone.
would suck that much because you would never know.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it that way. But somebody would know. Somebody would know that you're a sucker.
It's
It's
know, it's
basically just like the
It's
art
Schrodinger's AFA.
It's Schrodinger's AFA.
I was thinking that. That's ridiculous.
That's great.
We are all the worst nerds in one place.
I know. I love it.
That needs to be a bump, you know.
We're all the worst.
You need to get Mike to record that.
Okay, I can do that. Probably the biggest news, and we sort of buried the lead. The biggest news of the week. We found out that details on the new Transformers series, which takes place in 2015. I don't have strong feelings either way. It's not like I'm not like meh. I don't care. It's like I really need to wait and see. So basically, it takes place. It's a continuation of the Prime/Beast Hunters universe, and Bumblebee is the leader of the Autobots. So Will Friedle, however you say it, is going to voice Bumblebee, which is awesome. But basically, Bumblebee leads the Autobots this go round.
Or at least the team of Autobots the show will focus on.
Or at least he will lead the Autobots in the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then get demoted, promptly fired.
Yeah. So someone said, I can't remember who it was, on Twitter or Allspark or T-Formers, that this is basically Beast Machines. At least to begin with. In the sense that...
I'm sort of looking at it more like G1 Season 3.
I can only differ with that and respect that Cheetor was an established character, and Rodimus Hot Rod was a character who was created to take Optimus Prime's place in the movie. So that's the only way I really would differ with that.
Yeah, I'm just more looking at it as, you know, it's so much time forward, and there's no Optimus, probably no Megatron, and...
I think it's probably more like your coworker who's a little immature, but is a decent fellow. He gets promoted, and he's your supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of have to deal with that. So you might be butthurt for a few months, but you finally figured out he's probably the best guy that they could have picked.
Some baggage is coming out
Yeah,
here.
no, I'm kidding. That didn't happen to me. Not,
Oh, yeah.
not in years.
A friend of mine. This
Yeah,
guy I
happened to
know.
a friend of mine, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so, but yeah, that's pretty much... so we find out more in 2015, that's when it debuts. I would hope to find out more at BotCon. More
Probably
like
Comic-Con.
More
though.
likely Comic-Con.
Get a clip or something. Because they did mention, I don't know if you mentioned the 3D, 2D mix.
So it's 3D on 2D painted backgrounds, right?
That sounds so weird. I got to see it.
It sounds so energon.
It sounds...
Well, I don't think it'll be like that.
It sounds
No.
it sounds so Tekken 1 and 2.
Awesome.
When it was
Then I'm in.
when it was 3D characters in front of bitmaps.
Yeah. Man, if they're actual bitmaps, I'm totally in.
Well, I mean, they have to be bitmaps in some way because they get digitized, so they are bitmaps.
Well, do the low res.
They'll be high res bitmaps.
Nah.
All the worst
Not
nerds
a
in
fan.
the same place.
Yeah.
So basically, we just have that. a rough premise and a picture of Bumblebee, like basically like high-fiving us.
Yeah.
And that's like it.
Which is pretty much the same thing we had when they first announced Transformers Prime.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Comic-Con where they had the first like little video clip that was basically just a demonstration of the animation style.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what's
yeah, and having the animated backgrounds with CGI robots on is pretty standard in a lot of robot animation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Next item. This is almost certainly fake, but I think it's interesting. XV had posted 2 T-Formers on Saturday. Potential Cliffjumper Masterpiece figure based on Bumblebee. And it's almost certainly a Photoshop. But whether or not it's a legitimate official Photoshop is the question. There's some debate on one, would they actually remold Bumblebee to do Cliffjumper? My vote is probably yes, because I doubt that we'll get a unique Cliffjumper mold ever, because it's Cliffjumper.
Now, this could be Pretender Bumblebee.
No, because the first one would be Pretender Bumblebee because it actually looked like a real Volkswagen in car mode. Instead of being all,
yeah, but Pretender
squished.
Bumblebee has a Cliffjumper head.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
You know, I'm trying to think. So, does the Pretender shell have a Cliffjumper head, or does the robot have a Cliffjumper head?
It's the robot.
Okay, 'cause I would hope it'd be the shell. That would be great. I think I have the Legends Legends Bumblebee somewhere, so I should pull that out and look at it. I don't remember though.
I just thought it looked kind of Cliffjumpery, but I never looked at it that closely. I mean, it's partly just because of the way the hinges are on the side of the head, I think, that it gives that impression.
I really think that if we get a Masterpiece Cliffjumper, it'll be based on the Bumblebee mold. I mean, how different are... I need to pull Cliffjumper and Bumblebee out. How different are those molds for the G1? I mean, same basic skeleton, right?
Yeah, I mean... It's
same engineering, completely different shell.
Right. All you would need to do for the Masterpiece is to change the vehicle panels.
I think that's totally reasonable.
Yeah, I do too. That's why this seemed plausible to me at the time. I mean, obviously there was a thought that it was a Photoshop, but there's just enough reasonable to it to maybe. I don't think this would be far off from what the real thing would be.
Oh, I agree. If or when we get Masterpiece Cliffjumper, it will be based on this. I almost guarantee it. That's why I want them to go ahead and rush out like, Jazz or something, because they can get some mileage out of that. Well, actually, the one they really get the mileage out of, they've already released.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if nothing else, they could do some clever repaints. I would really. There's no Diaclone base that's shared with Mirage, right? There's no panels that have been. There's nothing that's associated with. He's pretty. He's unique. I love Mirage. I would love to see Mirage. But yeah, the most versatile mold has been done, which being
the 2 most versatile.
Yeah, Blue Streak and Sideswipe.
Yeah.
Or Prowl and Sideswipe. Yeah.
Well, same difference functionally.
Yeah. Man, without getting some obscure, like, I don't know, Ricochet or something. I don't
even that's not really obscure
anymore,
but
no.
that's mostly Hasbro's doing.
Inferno. Because they can do at least a couple things with that.
I mean, if they did Jazz, you could get a G2 Jazz off of it, but...
Yeah. But that's not as huge a departure as Sideswipe is.
No.
But you could get at least a couple figures out of Inferno. You could get a couple figures out of Grapple. Get a couple figures out of Ironhide. And that kind of makes me sad. You could get several figures out of a new Seeker mold.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they already redid the one they had,
and they're still reusing it.
Yeah.
So that's probably not very likely.
You know, one of the things that came up in an interview one of the Japanese magazines did was that, like, the Prowl set and Sideswipe and its recolors did well enough that they could do some, like, Wheeljack now that don't have to have planned reuses from the start. I mean, they're not strictly looking at how many different things they can do with each given mold anymore, because the ones they're making are selling really well.
They could get at least one reuse out of Wheeljack, or 2 reuses out of Wheeljack.
Yeah, but the point is, like, they didn't design Wheeljack thinking ahead that they had to do that.
Right. God, I want a Mirage. I want a Mirage so bad.
You would just break it in the first 5 minutes anyway.
I'd be reliving my 5-year-old self.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's see here. Anything else before we jump
to... The problem with any Masterpiece Ironhide is that it wouldn't be based on the original toy.
Yeah, so
I have to agree.
Yeah, Masterpiece toys tend to be a compromise between the toy and the cartoon, but there's very little room to compromise on that without it being crap. I
mean, in a way, I would be really interested to see how they would engineer Ironhide to work, since, you know, making it to look like the cartoon model has almost no vehicle aspect to it at all.
Well, the vehicle's a box.
Right, but even the colors are, like, the robot's mostly gray, the van is completely red.
Yeah.
You know, you would need some really clever, like, panel folding and hiding of elements to make that happen. I would like to see that performed.
No, I want it, original toy based.
Oh, obviously.
That would solve most of those problems.
Could they do sort of a Rodimus sort of deal where you get a dual use out of it, like where you got Hot Rod and Rodimus? Could they engineer it to where you could get it to transform kind of like the toy and mostly like the cartoon?
All that would really require would be hiding the head down in the chest. So sure,
I would be all for that. Maybe.
As long as it has the MARB, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I want Masterpiece skids now. We'll see.
Well, get the alternator. That's probably the closest you'll have.
That's true. And actually, let's see here. Alternators...
that would be mostly in scale.
And Hound as well.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that a few weeks ago. Masterpiece Hound is probably just Alternators Hound. One more item in the news before we jump to our third-party roundup. We have a new 3-pack Asia-exclusive Decepticon Specialists, which includes that Tankor / Broadside figure, Astro Train, and Galvatron. Or Octane, pardon me, not Broadside. We never got a Broadside figure.
No, we're still waiting for that.
I want one.
Well, maybe next year.
I want one really bad. But, you know, as much as I hate Octane, or that figure...
Tankor?
Yeah, Tankor. They're calling him Octane in Japan, which, yeah, not that it matters. In that Galvatron, I actually never got that Astro Train. I know it's not a great toy. I know
it's not that bad.
I know it's not a great toy. It's not a terrible toy.
I actually never got Astro Train or Octane, and that is, as sad as that Galvatron mold is, it's the nicest it's ever looked, so that's actually a pretty tempting set.
Yes.
That's $120.
Yeah, well, no. So.
My Tankor / Octane is in the bottom of the bin right now in pieces.
It's lying on the back of the shelf somewhere. I kind of stopped looking for it.
It's a loathsome toy. It's the worst toy there. It's worse than Galvatron.
It's pretty bad.
That's sad.
It's a bad toy. But that Galvatron looks really nice. And Astro Train looks really nice, too. The US deco on that never really did much for me. I don't know why they went with that deco on the US version.
Make it look like an actual shuttle?
Yeah, that's just wrong, though. I mean, this deco looks much better. But it's such an ugly toy. But I still want it. Actually, I was having a conversation at work with somebody today about Astro Train. I don't remember who, but I just remember I had a conversation about Asteroid Train at work with somebody who doesn't collect Transformers. Yeah, I know. Just the funny conversations that come up. Oh, it was JP. We were talking about Transformers. I was trying to explain to him about the basis, about where Transformers came from originally, the whole Diaclone, Microman, Bandai stuff, and we started talking about triple changers and combiners. That was fun. I don't get a chance to talk about nerd stuff like that at work without people just walking away.
You barely get a chance to do that with us without one of us walking away.
That's true.
See also John DeLuna.
Yeah, John is gone for right now. So is this, let's jump to third-party news. I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but it's certainly redundant and unnecessary. Make Toys is, they're doing their own Metroplex. So this is what, the second or third-party Metroplex?
Well, okay. There was the one that like a CGI render came out for, but I don't think we've heard anything of that since then.
So is this the first one?
That was last fall, I think. So this is the first one that's at like the physical production stage.
But we have a 2-foot tall Metroplex that you can get.
The thing is, I can see like why this might have appeal, since this is more, original toy update, where the other one's more, modernized playset thing.
I mean, Metroplex is probably my favorite Transformers toy ever. I love Metroplex. I don't know why. It's just, it holds a soft spot in my heart. Or Galvatron. But,
the only real problem that I have with the new Metroplex is that there isn't a way to mount the new Combaticons onto its shoulders.
Oh man, I never did that as a kid. I knew I could. I just didn't. I don't know. This does sort of scratch a G1 itch.
It looks really nice. I mean,
but
I don't think there's much argument there. I agree. I don't know how necessary it really
is.
But
it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, it doesn't even have. Doesn't have enough awesome ramps. For one,
I agree.
I can see how this would appeal to some people, where the Hasbro one probably didn't entirely, but. What I've heard is that this is going to run in the $400 range.
Jeez.
And I don't remember exactly how tall their Devastator was compared to some toy we'd all be familiar with, but I'm pretty sure this is only going to be around the size of like Cybertron Primus in the robot mode. So it's not even going to be that huge.
So, Scaleface is saying the only thing superior about Generations Metroplex is that it's bigger. Well, it's bigger, it's cheaper, and I'm certain once this is actually released, we'll find out that the build quality is superior. So
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Make Toys does good stuff. I don't actually have any of their stuff, but I've never heard complaints about build quality with them.
I don't think it's gonna be bad, but I don't mind transforming, the Generations Metroplex. I'm never afraid that I'm going to break it.
Yeah, one at the end's like $2. Okay, Paladin beat me to it.
He's joking, I think. But yeah, I'm only knocking it in the sense that I think that it's probably not the wisest move they could have made from a production standpoint, because you have so many people who are completely and thoroughly satisfied with Generations Metroplex.
I will say it looks a heck of a lot better than that Not Rack and Ruin.
Which one was that?
The thing... okay, so you remember there was... that's retooled from Warbot Defender, right? The Rack and Ruin... No, the Roadbuster. It's recolored from their Roadbuster.
Oh.
Fans Project took their Roadbuster mold, made some changes, and did it in green, and is selling it as a pair as Rack and Ruin.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to include that in the news, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, the pre-order announcement went up today, I think. Not the pre-orders themselves, but the announcement that the pre-orders would go up. And that's going to be a 2-pack, I think, for $180
Ow.
through Fans Project's website.
Yeah, no. No. No.
I think the marketing angle on that is, like, when they showed the prototype for their Roadbuster, it had, like, all the armor and stuff, armor and extra weapons like the original Roadbuster toy had. But then when they released their Roadbuster, it only came with part of that, and the rest of it's going to come with this 2-pack.
No. No.
That's the last thing I heard. That may have changed in the meantime, but at one point that was going to be how that worked.
I'd like to point out that when Bandai does that, releases parts for other toys with their with a new toy, that's on like their like $4 minifigures, for God's sake.
So let's go ahead and take a break. We'll jump to Q&A with Rob Springer, and after that we will return with the live review of ReGeneration One number 100. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
I'm gonna need a drink.
You boys a bit bored? Snap into it! Snap into a Slim Jim!
Hey guys, it's Rob, and this week's question comes from my pal Tony Klepak. Tony asks, what's coming next for the Transformers franchise after Age of Extinction? Age of Extinction. I said extension. Back to basics? Something pseudo-movie? Well, Tony, thanks for your question, dude. And hey, everybody, please go join the Transmasters. It's the oldest existing fan club in Transformers, and it's really good to be part of this fandom's heritage, okay? Tony pretty much runs it nowadays. If you're on Facebook, just kind of search it, and you can find it, join, and join the little group. It'll be fun. And you can read the almost quarterly fanzine and stuff, and kind of take part in some of the history of this fan base. But to Tony's question, it's so cool that I got to this question today. Because if I would have answered this before today, I would have said, and told you some stuff I was guessing, going by what little bit of news we had. But yesterday, before I went to work, we got news of, actual press release of the new series. The new series, while I don't know its name yet, is a follow-up to Prime, maybe sort-of season 4 of Prime, or you could say it a sequel series to Prime, which looks like a little bit more with a different style of animation, and basically taking place with Bumblebee, at least at the start, with Bumblebee leading the Autobots on Adventure Earth. You can presume there's some Decepticons and stuff in there, and it looks like all I got's a picture of Bumblebee, and it looks like it's similar to the Prime look, but a little more cartoony and a little different. You've probably seen the picture by now yourself. In fact, I think I saw you share it the other day. It's a little more, that picture's a little more traditional looking, while still retaining the looks of Bumblebee's Prime vision. And it's still Will Friedle, or Freedy, however you say his name, voicing Bumblebee. It looks like you got a bunch of new voice actors, so it looks like we got some new characters, so that's cool. Being that that's going to be a little bit more, not as dark as Prime, and from their description, they're saying it's a little more age appropriate for the children, not as dark and stuff. So I'm going to hope it's going to be more in line to animated as far as the series goes. Just because all their descriptions of it up till now has pretty much been animated. It may not be the quality writing of animated, but basically that kind of, funny, but still real, action-y cartoon. So maybe. I'm really impressed that they're going to start up a Transformers series, or at least season without Optimus. They haven't done that since season 3. So that's, I mean, Beast Wars, that was Optimus Primal, that was a different guy, but still it was an Optimus. So that's really, really neat. And I got high hopes for this. This is going to come, of course, Age of Extinction is coming, and you know, they said something about an animated event in 2014. I don't know if that's been pushed back, which is a possibility, or if it's just sort of a little, another direct, I did something with my hand there, I don't even know what I did. Another direct-to-video deal like Predacons Rising, you know, maybe like a tie-over thing, because I don't know how soon it's going to take for this show to start. Maybe it'll start early 2015, maybe it'll start late 2015, or mid-2015. I'm in no rush to go to 2015, so I guess I'll be patient and time will tell. So, cool, man. And obviously, it looks like Generations is going to continue. So I hope some of these new cartoon styles are in a suitable toy line for an adult like me to enjoy, and not just one-step changers, but we'll see. So, thanks, Tony, for your question. Hey, if anybody else has any questions, I think it's a halves. I just woke up. That's not an excuse. Everyone knows I talk crazy. Please send them. Rob@tfradio.net, and check out tfradio.net for all of our shows and showtimes. You can go to any of our social media. There's links there on the site. And let's face it, you probably already know our Facebook and Twitter. You can send me a question there, and that'd be great. And if you want to check out my blog, roborobspringer.tumblr.com, you can, I want to say, see all my happenings, but sometimes I update it 1,000,000 times a week, and sometimes I update it like once, so that's life. But my Tumblr's my Twitter is also RoboRobSpringer. So you can check me out there. I update it a lot more often. So hey, thanks for your questions, and please keep sending them in. And let's go see what the Funky Bunch is up to. Okay? I just paused for no apparent reason. All right. Thanks for the questions. Keep them sending in. Later. Bye.
Radio Free Cybertron will return after these messages.
They came to destroy Earth. Now, the only ones strong enough to take them on
Autobots, emergency!
are hiding right under your hood. Transform now! Don't miss the premiere of Transformers: Robots in Disguise, Saturday morning, September 8th, only on Fox Kids.
Radio Free Cybertron is teamed up with Kokomo Toys and Collectibles in Kokomo, Indiana. If you're in the Kokomo area, visit our store for a huge selection of new and classic toys. Visit online at www.kokomotoys.com for our address and store hours. While you're there, check out our listing of pre-order items, as well as visit our eBay store. Visit us at www.kokomotoys.com. That's KOKOMOTOYS.com. We're also on Facebook.
From the secret files of Teletran 2. In the days of Megatron, Decepticons developed the art of espionage using cassette technology. Their first cassette, Laserbeak, could fly undetected into any Autobot stronghold, record information, and then return to base. Then the Decepticons decided to increase their spying abilities with Ratbat. As a bat, Ratbat can hide in crevices that Laserbeak can't reach, and he's especially effective in tunnels, caves, or in the darkness of space. Ratbat reports on the Autobots' most carefully guarded secrets. The Autobots had no choice but to strike back at these Decepticon techniques of stealth, building a force of cassette transformers of their own, with Blaster as their guardian. They constructed Ramhorn the Rhino, who can use animalistic force if cornered, and Steeljaw the Lion, who can crawl through the foliage of any alien world to sneak up on Decepticons. They also bolstered their cassette force with Rewind and Eject, who can transform to robot mode and use more conventional fighting force techniques.
We now return to Radio Free Cybertron.
Warning. The following segment may contain spoilers for the most recent Transformers comic books.
ReGeneration One, number 100. Guys, go ahead.
Oh boy.
We're done. Not with
Yeah,
this,
it's
but-
over. Finished.
I finished.
Oh,
The thing is, Furman even played with that himself at the end of the book.
I haven't read it. Actually, I haven't read any since like 85.
Oh, then I mean, you won't feel like you're missing anything at all, honestly.
I will say, just from the cover, it did the one thing that I wanted it to do.
which
That
is?
top part right there.
Oh yeah, the number 100.
That's all
issue.
That is all I wanted out of ReGeneration One, and I got it.
Yeah, that's
Good
kind
for
of
you,
what I
Bomac.
was. That I kind of wanted them to do that too. So I
That
was
was
happy
the
to
one
see
thing
that.
I wanted expecting, and I got my wish.
But it's not really true, though.
Well, no.
Well.
I mean,
I-
you can make the argument with the G1 comic because, well, it's like, what was it, Transformers Volume 2? Technically.
Well, then I guess they could have titled it number 122 issue limited series.
Yeah, there you go. But did they?
Somehow that's not as funny though.
Did Furman play off for me personally? It never ends in this. Please say you did.
Kinda.
Yeah.
God Almighty. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
was there
sorry.
any vast predatory birds?
Please say there are vast predatory birds.
Not as such.
No.
No.
No. So basically, in this issue, we find out that the overall villain, even going back into like the mid '60s of the original Marvel run, has actually been the Dark Matrix entity that was introduced in the UK comic, wasn't it? Originally.
No, I think didn't that turn up as was that first part of the Matrix Quest thing, or did it show up first in the UK?
I can't remember.
I researched that like probably 12 months ago, and I've forgotten all of it.
Either way, though, that was the actual villain for the whole thing. It was responsible for most everything that happened during Regeneration One, and of course, there was really no indication of that until like the last 3 issues.
Yeah.
When Rob and I wrote the review of this, we actually collaborated on the written review for T-Formers, and what we came up with was basically that the Dark Matrix entity in this context is pretty much the final boss of any given anime.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming out of nowhere to end the show.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what happens. Rob?
Okay, go on with the ending. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I told you. I told you I'd managed to purge this from my brain already. I mean, it. God, what a relief that was. Okay, but yeah. So Rodimus goes and faces that down. Ultra Magnus goes and tracks down Galvatron, who of course is the Galvatron from the Mad End future and all that. And here's the best part of the whole thing. Ultra Magnus says to his troops as they're tracking down Galvatron, "We don't have any time to waste on this anymore. Turn off the limiters on your weapons." They've been fighting this war for 4 million years with the limiters on their weapons. So, like I said to XV when we were writing this, so this whole time, this is a war? I thought we were playing a giant game of laser tag.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it came across in the issue, too. Because for all the stuff that's been going on, you had the limiters turned on.
Yeah. Like, what?
You're fighting off hostile invasions, and, I mean, not to mention the war, with the safety on.
Mm-hmm. The whole time.
It's on stun.
Yes.
No, didn't they ever listen to the song? We come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. Someone will get that.
I don't.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, hey, but this whole time they've been playing with a handicap, so isn't that like a compliment? I guess. Should we give them more credit? I don't
They've been
know.
doing pretty badly, though.
Yeah, but they could be doing. I mean,
Now,
but
here's the other
they have a
question.
handicap, so I guess they're supposed to be doing bad. I don't
Did the
know.
Decepticons also have limiters?
I think the Decepticons were all dead by this point, so we didn't really find out.
They died, never know.
Did they have limiters when they shot God in the face? It's a question.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say about that too, because that was a ricochet, so it would have been less powerful than it started out.
That would explain a lot.
Well, yeah.
But they weren't using limiters in G2. Oh, but G2 never happened, so...
Yeah.
No, in G2 they had guns that were firing bullet casings.
Oh, yeah, they did.
It was so much better.
G2 was kind of better than this, yes.
Yes. Okay, so, Rodimus goes into Zero space to face the Dark Matrix entity and hopefully rescue Spike. And... So basically, the Dark Matrix entity tells him that Spike cannot see or hear anything he doesn't want him to, and he controls the vertical, horizontal, etc., and gives him basically all 3 bodies that Optimus Prime has used throughout the course of the G1 comic to fight at once. So, so Rodimus basically decides that, okay, he can beat that, and he takes the Covenant of Primus and throws it into a hole in space-time and gets basically every Rodimus or Rodimus-colored Transformer that has ever existed. Because one of them is Excellion from Energon. Or
Cybertron. Cybertron/Galaxy Force.
Yeah. So...
Like, there was...
Did it have Powerlink Shot?
No, that's what I was going to say.
Why not?
Like, 10 issues ago, Rodimus got a glimpse of his multiverse selves, and they used Powerlink's Hotshot because in Micron Legend, the Japanese version, that toy was Hot Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I mean, there was basis for that, and in this case, that didn't appear, but the Cybertron equivalent did. So I'm not sure if that was just like a goof up on the art, because that was only in one panel, I think.
You'd think Guido would know better, because that was when we were into Guido's pages.
Yeah, you would think so. That's something else we got to talk about, too.
Yeah. But, okay, so basically, ultimately, what the hell does happen, anyway?
Okay, so
Thank
what
you,
what it comes down to is the Dark Matrix wants to ascend into the multiverse itself and spread itself through all of creation, essentially, and the only way to stop that is to cut off the Marvel universe from all the other Transformer universes, which eventually leads to the demise of every Transformer in that universe, just basically from old age.
Yeah.
The vague illusion they have is that even though Primus does not directly exist in that universe anymore, Primus's existence in the multiverse still keeps sustaining them. And without that, they eventually wither away and die.
And then on the last page, Rodimus Prime, the last living Transformer, falls over and dies of old age, and the Matrix in his chest seems to give life to a series of techno-organic plant creatures.
Or something. It's hard to tell exactly what they're supposed to be because they're only seen in silhouette. But, I mean, I guess the idea is just that even though that form of Cybertronian life has ended, it has given rise to something different and new.
Yeah.
You guys don't...
Then,
Go ahead.
Well, just that's where the "it never ends" comes in, except they leave off the ends. It never...
Yeah.
So you guys... If I remember correctly, you gave this a 6 out of 10. So it's not a complete disaster.
There are a bit...
There's worse issues of ReGeneration One, for sure.
Are you grading on a curve?
This one might have got some extra points because it ended.
A little bit. And Guido's pages are really, really nice in particular.
Yeah, so, okay, we got... Wildman came back to do the first 10 pages. Jeff Sr. did 10 pages, and then Guido did like 11 pages, the last third of the book. And, you know, Jeff Sr., classic artist, but doesn't really fit into the style.
Yeah, because we've got Wildman doing his style, we've got Guido doing an approximation of his style, only better. And, you know, so one of these things is not like the other. And
one of these things really just doesn't belong.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the real disaster in Jeff Senior's style is where he is called upon to do just a scene of various Transformers from the multiverse, and it just does not.
It does not. No.
I love Jeff Senior. His stuff in G2 is probably some of my favorite parts of G2. His style has a lot of certain strengths, and this book does not really play to any of them.
And the real shame of it too is that if they would have gone straight from Wildman art to Guido art, the transition, you would have been able to tell the difference side by side, because we actually commented on that somewhat. When the artist switch off happened originally, you couldn't immediately tell that somebody else was doing Wildman style art, except for like really, really subtle cues. But when you have them next to each other, essentially, it becomes more obvious when it's Guido doing it. If you would have had those two back to back in this, the transition would have been so smooth. There would have been no like visual interruption at all.
Yeah.
You would have just gone through and probably not noticed to start with, honestly. The Jeff Senior thing is just kind of like, it's a very unpleasant bumper.
Yeah.
Is it the inking on it, or it just doesn't?
It's just the fact that his style is so radically different from Wildman and Guido. Wildman does have, especially in the faces, a certain amount of roundness, and
Jeff Senior doesn't.
Yeah, there's nothing round about Jeff Senior's style.
I think the other thing, too, is that because Guido was doing such a good Wildman emulation, the book has had very, very consistent art style the whole way through. Issue 0 had a couple of different artists come in and do different styles, but those styles fit to the context they were put in. It wasn't just, random extra artists thrown in because, Transformers connections. So having 10 pages of Jeff Senior for no logical and story reason kind of threw everything off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend for anyone who hasn't read this that they get the trades?
Actually, reading it in the trades is probably better than reading it month to month if you're determined to read it at some point.
Yeah, I'd be kind of curious to see how that flows compared to the monthly. It might actually be better, because since the actual starts and stops in the stories have nothing to do with where an issue begins or ends, putting them all together might actually help that.
Well, Rob Springer is pretty well depressed that ReGeneration One is ending, and I know it has its fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We're not one of them, but
yeah, I know Rob Springer and Don are both despondent, but for us, I'm happy we're moving on to new things this year. Like I said, this I don't know that there are going to be any comics that I don't think, from what I've seen, I don't think any of the comics coming out this year are going to hit me as negatively as ReGeneration One has come to do.
I just told Don that we're done spoiling, so
yeah, there are no spoilers.
No more spoilers.
It's so sad though, because almost 2 years ago, when this started, it was the thing some of us were like most looking forward to out of IDW's comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it went downhill so fast.
Didn't materialize. I stopped reading it after like 4 or 5 issues.
Yeah, and of course it didn't help ReGeneration One by comparison that's almost exactly when IDW books took a huge spike in quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if ReGeneration One would have happened like 2 or 3 years before it did, it would have had a lot stronger response.
But but when it's coming out, and when it's coming out at the same time as Robots in Disguise, yeah, it's going to look bad. And Robots in Disguise doesn't look is better than it seems. It doesn't seem as good simply because it's also running at the same time as More Than Meets the Eye.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. So I mean, there's obviously no competing against More Than Meets the Eye, but ReGeneration One was a less good book than the Robot Politics book that was out at the same time.
So, So it's safe to say More Than Meets the Eye is the greatest Transformers comic series ever. So
I mean, in some respects, I would say More Than Meets the Eye could be up there with the best Transformers fiction overall.
Oh yeah, but can we say that Robots in Disguise is second, or is that still G2 or the later UK stuff?
I like Robots in Disguise. Well, I like the first year or so of Robots in Disguise before it started leading into Dark Cybertron, because it got distinctly weaker during that. I'm hoping for it to bounce back to what it was. Now that
of course, also on Infiltration and on the first few IDW miniseries were also really good.
And those were Furman written too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robots in Disguise is a pretty strong book overall. It's just it got hurt a little bit just to make the Dark Cybertron event happen. I think it can get back to what it was and be a really strong book again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was kind of hurt by the fact that, about the 6 months leading up to Dark Cybertron all take place on one day while we're waiting for Dark Cybertron to start?
Yes.
Yeah.
They all take place during one night before Dark Cybertron started for 6 months.
Yes.
Anything else around the comic?
Well, I mean, there was Robots in Disguise 27, but we probably won't talk about that here because, spoiler stuff that more people care about. Spoiler stuff that basically anybody cares about besides Don.
Think we'll get a review of that next week?
I think we can do that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. If I think
we'll probably roll that into Dark Cybertron finale, which is due out next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I guess that pretty much does it as John walks away.
Bye, John.
Bye, John.
Bye, John. Thanks for being here.
So, Fort Max, besides Superhero Time, how do people find you? On Twitter.
Twitter. Fort Max.
And you're at Fort Max.
Yep.
I bet lots of people...
You could also go to Bunny Hat Subs and see the product of Fort Max's unhealthy obsession with encoding videos.
And
what's the address for that, Fort Max?
Bunny Hat. I think it's Bunny.
Fort Max
I don't even know the own
website.
I'm not even sure of my own address off the top of my head.
Are you still running the? When was the last time you updated that instruction scan site?
Ages ago.
Okay. But if you search for Fort Max and instruction scans, they'll find your site.
Yeah.
And flail-throughs. Go ahead.
Shamelessly leeching off the wiki's bandwidth.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's bunnyhat.blogspot.com.
Yes.
There we go. And at flailthroughs.blogspot.com, it's mostly Minecraft this week. There's a couple other things I'm going to be trying to bring back when I actually have 2 minutes to rub together. And XV and I are going to try and start a new Minecraft series soon. At figureviews.com, we finally have our small anniversary update up and running, thanks to 2 weeks of hard work and debugging, thanks to XV.
Arg.
Yes.
Yeah, the site's not broken for right now, so...
Yes, so go see it, please. Figureviews.com.
And that pretty much sums it up for you too, XV, right?
Yeah, because my Twitter account's private these days, so there's not really any point spreading that around.
Yeah. You haven't... I get to see your tweets. They're fantastic.
Well, yeah, that's because I didn't, kick you out.
That's true.
I got rid of like 200 people, and,
Hey, Superhero Time. So, TokuPodcast.com, and there's a special episode coming up next week.
Yeah, we're doing our 200th. We're recording our 200th episode on Monday. So next week we're going to have. Originally, this was just going to be another live video show with some special power playback, but because of JD's passing, we decided to rededicate it to be a memorial episode to all the good times we've had with JD during the 2 years he was with us. And you'll be there.
I will be there. I'm excited. It's the second time I've been on Superhero Time.
Yes, and this time you don't have a thingamajig to take the pressure off.
This time I'm not even going to pretend that I have. I was actually the last time I didn't pretend that I had a clue, but I know all about JD and I can talk about JD.
Yeah, I mean we're not doing the Toku stuff next week. It's just going to be the JD show, so you don't have to know anything about anything except JD.
Yeah, I miss JD, and
we all do.
You can go to tfradio.net/JD if you want to learn more or give to the Giving Forward page. Thank you all so much that have given to that. We're at nearly $5,000 for our $10,000 goal. We have about 2 months left. If we could get, another $1,000 in that by the end of this next month, I think that would be a huge victory. So we definitely, if you haven't been able to give or you can't, that's okay. But tell your friends. I'm certain there are people who still don't know. tfradio.net/JD. We would appreciate it. And you can find me on Twitter at bkilby, and I'm on at facebook.com/BrianKilby. Feel free to follow me. I post all sorts of stuff. You can see all the Joe Lanta posts from this past weekend. Had a blast. It was great. And we are on Twitter at tfradio and at facebook.com/tfradio. John DeLuna is on Twitter at, what is John? He's at, is it JDuna? I think it's JDuna.
That used to be it. I thought he changed it, though.
Did he? He is at that John D. At that John D. If you want to know more about Capcom, fighting games, Street Fighter, or wrestling, follow John DeLuna at that John D. So, for the guys, I'm your host, Brian Kilby. We will see you next week. Have a good one.
This has been Radio Free Cybertron. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Watch our live stream at tfradio.net/live. Join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/tfradio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TF Radio Network. Have a question or comment? Leave it on our Facebook fan page or mail it to contact@tfradio.net. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons license. Any part of this podcast can and should be redistributed, but please, proper attribution is required if you know what's good for you. Radio Free Cybertron, the original Transformers internet radio show since 1999. 100% girlfriend free since 1999.